This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, leading the league in podcasting entertainment.
Hello, football fans, and welcome to the Onside Kick. My name is Ricky Widmer, and as always, I'm joined by the Mark Weber.
Dub them E's.
And we've got a jam-packed... I say it every week, Mark. I feel like a broken record at this point, but it's kind of my thing. We got a jam-packed show. We're going to be talking some NFL draft. Is Jalen Ramsey being a little cocky, saying that the Tennessee Titans should draft him first overall? We're going to be talking Sean Payton in this podcast. We got Colin Kaepernick and the San Francisco 49ers, because besides Jalen Ramsey or maybe Sean Payton, this has been a slow news week in the NFL.
Yeah, it kind of has. I mean, you have little things happening here or there, but nothing too impactful for much. I mean, this is the point where a lot of people are doing these comparisons between different players, or just saying, you know what, hey, let's power rank, or something like that. It's
or mock draft.
A lot of people are just reaching for something to kind of fill some time.
And if you're sitting there going, but Ricky, Todd McShay came out with his 4.0, why aren't you guys talking about that? I will say I'm going to come out with a mock draft very soon, my 4.0, to stay up to pace with Todd McShay. If you want me to talk about it, I guess we can do a video, but we're not going to do a podcast this week on it. But we are going to be talking some type of NFL draft, because, Mark, I agree with Jalen Ramsey, where he came out and the quote in the headline says it perfectly on ESPN. It says, DB Jalen Ramsey, want Titans to know I'm the best player in the draft.
Yeah, you like the confidence, you do. And he's definitely one of the top 5, but you really kind of, you got to wonder a little bit, because it's been Tunsil this entire time. He's been the surefire guy, and his pro day, he looked great. He looked amazing. He looked like number 1 overall pick potential. Not that Jalen Ramsey doesn't look like he could be. Then you kind of, you make me think about it, and I remember that in the past 3 years, with number 1 picks, the Tennessee Titans have drafted 2 different offensive linemen. So do they really need another tackle when they have Taylor Lewin out there? When they got Chance Warmack as a guard not too long ago. But you got a young quarterback, and you got a new nice a nice running back. So it certainly helps to shore up that line. I mean, imagine how scary that is if you have 3 great young offensive linemen. But do you need another one? And it's not really something that a lot of people are talking about, on whether or not they actually need one, just because a lot of people are using the BPA argument of he's the best guy out there.
Well, and here's what I think. Right now, I'm looking at 2 things. Number 1, I'm looking at the Titans depth chart. And the first thing I think of is, if you draft Laramie Tunsil, you're going to have 3 great... Let's just put it this way. The right side of your offensive line is going to be hashtag beast mode, or whatever hashtag the cool kids want to use. It's going to be boss. It is going to be the most dominant part of this team, because no matter who you put at right tackle, whether it be Tunsil or Taylor Lewin, whoever you put there, that right side is going to be Warmack and that tackle. So it's like, you know what, go to the right side. Nobody's going to be rushing Mariota from that side. DeMarco can just run all day on the right side. However, Jalen Ramsey could be a shot in the arm for this defense. That I'm looking at the cornerbacks, and besides Jason McCourty, what do you got? And this is a kid that, to me, I like him enough. That's why I put him at number 1. I kind of got ahead of... I started the hype train, let's be honest, because in my 3.0, I had him going number 1. He's got that kind of talent, and to me, it just doesn't go... It's not just his athletic ability. It's not just what he can do. I know he didn't have an interception. However, I'm not that concerned with that. The turnovers, I'm not concerned with. He doesn't have to go out there and be Richard Sherman on Michael Crabtree in the NFC Championship game.
Mediocre Crabtree.
He could just be locked down corner, nobody's getting nobody's getting anything going. Oh, wait, that's right. They don't have to play him at corner if they don't want to. He can play safety as well.
The problem for the Tennessee Titans is, we were talking about if they need something, if they need this because they've been drafting, but they kind of do.
They need anything.
They can use the more offensive linemen because Mariota got hurt. Not hurt. Well, I mean, kind of. But he got hit a lot. Mm-hmm. He was constantly being hit. So when you kind of are at the luxury of winning the BPA sweepstakes, that in this case is Laramie Tunsil, do you really want to pass on that? Yes, Jalen Ramsey is great, and yes, you also need cornerbacks. But I mean, you sign Bryce McCain. You're not necessarily loving your life there. Antoine Blake as well. Mm-hmm. Once again, not really loving your life, but they're good enough to help get more depth on the roster to just kind of help out a team. You also, don't forget you're talking about safety, but you have Rashad Johnson. You sign him as well. So you have options there. You didn't get anyone to help the offensive line. You need a center. You need an offensive tackle. Getting the best one in the entire draft of any offensive lineman position, that's pretty great. I think that helps out a lot. I would love I guess it's an upset. I would love Jalen Ramsey to go in there and kind of surprise everybody and be that number one pick.
Shock the world.
Yeah, because you don't like it when it is so obvious. I mean, we were debating RG3 or Andrew Luck because we just wanted it to not be so obvious.
Well, I think you can even have the discussion of should the Titans try to trade the pick?
Well, they would love to trade the pick.
Should you try to pursue a RG3 type trade for the number one pick?
But it's not going to happen. It's too difficult to do that. And no one's making that trade. Nobody's making that phone call. The Titans have said, yeah, we would do it. We totally would, but they're pretty. They're pretty sure that they're going to have to make this pick. Mm-hmm. I mean, either one's a good option, but to me, it's where's your money at? It's going to be Marcus Mariota. You got your new running back. You're going to hopefully get some good targets to throw the ball to. That's where the money's going to be. And you are in a division that's all about the pass. So, yes, you could use a cornerback to kind of combat that. Or you can get another great quarterback and protect him and make sure he's producing at a high level. Mm-hmm. Because that's what the AFC South is going to be about. It's going to be about passing attack for the next, decade, essentially. It's going to all be about offense. And that's just the way the NFL is. The NFL is all offense nowadays. So I really can't. I would like to see it as a fan of just it's interesting, but I just can't really make the argument and convince myself that they should go away from the surefire number one BPA pick.
Here's what I think. And to me, there's one point I want to make, and I will make it a little bit later, but I want to make a different one kind of right now and kind of propose this question to you. The last time an offensive tackle was taken first overall was the 2013 NFL draft. That was when KC drafted Eric Fisher. Now, Eric Fisher, since 2013, I'm looking at an article right now on SB Nation. It's an article talking about how Eric Fisher is a good left tackle. However, at the beginning of the article, it says that, and I'm reading a quote here, Fisher as recently as earlier this season was a bust. He lost his left tackle position due to poor play and was on the verge of becoming benched. This is a pick where Eric Fisher, to me, is not that's not one where I go back and go, yep, okay, number one pick. It wasn't a Cam Newton kind of pick. It wasn't an Andrew Luck kind of a pick. It wasn't a it wasn't a Clowney pick. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
It wasn't that number one pick that the fans are going, okay, I'm glad we made that pick. Now, you could argue that the number 2 pick was an offensive tackle in Luke Jokel, and he's been doing fine in Jacksonville. Hasn't been labeled a bust like some people have labeled Eric Fisher. And part of me thinks that the Titans, maybe because of that, and I'm not saying that Tunsil's going to be a bust. Don't think that. But part of me's thinking, you know what? Maybe we can kind of flip our two kind of needs a little bit, because to me, and now I'm going to make that point I wanted to make in the beginning, there's two things that in my mind the Titans can do, because trading the pick to me is out the window. Nobody wants it. Nobody wants it. The only way you were going to trade that pick is if you traded Mariota to the Cowboys, or not the Cowboys, the Eagles last year, and then this year said, hey, Cleveland, trade us for this pick or we're taking Carson Wentz. Yeah. That's the only way you were going to trade this pick. And at that time, you didn't know you were going to have the number 1 pick. But here's what you got to do, and here's my point. You either take Ramsey, and then at 33, take Mackenzie Alexander, because right now, all of this is speculation, but right now, Mackenzie Alexander has dropped to 38th in Todd McShay's mock draft. So they can take Alexander, DB at 33, take Tunsil at number 1, or take Ramsey number 1 and take Jason Spriggs, offensive tackle out of Indiana, at 33. Which need are you going to address where? That's the question.
Yeah. And it's also just kind of the, I hate to keep pressing it, but it's that BPA argument of, for them, for the Titans, it's just which one of these guys do you have just a little bit higher
for
on your
you?
board?
Which is I feel like I know the answer, but which is BPA for you?
I gotta go with Tunsil. I do.
See, I'm on the other side.
Quarterback.
I think if we're going BPA, best player available, here's how it maps down. I think there's 3 players that have first overall potential, and this is how it goes: Ramsey, Tunsil, Bosa. That's it. That is could all 3 of those be a solid number 1 pick? Yes. But to me, the best pick in this draft is Jalen Ramsey, because you know who he kind of reminds me of with this just, I want them to draft me
Johnny Manziel?
Because I'm the best. Not really.
That's what it reminds me of.
No, not Johnny Manziel. A little bit of shade of Richard Sherman. It's that cockiness of Richard Sherman. And that's the kind of, especially at the cornerback position, that's what you want. You want a player that says, I'm the best, I'm going to shut you down, especially a defensive back.
To me, and I know that people are saying don't judge this too harshly, but to me, if Jalen Ramsey also was catching the ball, that would be one thing. But he does have that hole in the game. He won't catch the ball. He will drop the ball. He will break up passes.
What do they say about defensive backs?
They're not wide receivers for a reason.
They're not wide receivers for a reason.
But if I'm taking you number 1 overall, I want you to catch the ball.
You want some interception.
Yeah, I want to get a interception out of this deal. I don't want you to go entire
then would he
year
work,
without anything.
Then in your mind, would he work better as a safety than a cornerback?
He might, yeah. He probably would.
Because to me, if I think interception numbers, I mean, safeties can do it too, but when I think interceptions, I think shut down corners who intercept the ball, and really it's the safeties who come in and just tip it away.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, do you want to draft a guy who you're going to change his position, number 1 overall, though? That is a question, too, which I don't think is as huge of an issue because he could do either one, but I would feel that there's more risk to do it. He's listed as a safety
first, but he can play both.
Yeah, I mean, I guess maybe. I don't know. I just always keep thinking of him as the corner. I do want to point something out, though. This is interesting to some people. The last time we have traded the first overall pick, of course, 2004, the Giants, Eli Manning. They traded with San Diego
yeah, but
Chargers.
That was a different situation because of Archie. Archie just kind of put it in Eli's head that you don't want to go to San Diego.
But the thing is, they had to trade, the Giants had to trade Phillip Rivers, essentially, the 4th pick, so 4th overall, a first pick in the 3rd round, next year's first round pick, and then a 5th round pick for that number 1 pick. And since that, of course, remember the Redskins trade to get RG3.
For number 2.
That was number 2. And if you want to go back even further, 2001 for Atlanta to get Michael Vick, they had to trade the 5th overall pick, a 3rd round pick, next year's 2nd round pick to get that 1st round pick. And it only has gotten more and more pricey as it goes up. So if anyone's hoping for that trade, it's just not going to happen.
Here's the best answer that I've seen, and this is from the Twitter account Albert Beer, who's a national reporter for NFL Network, and he sent out this tweet that Jalen Ramsey told him on the Titans, and I quote, "They shouldn't take me because I'm a Nashville kid. They should take me because I'm the best player in the draft." End quote. And I'm going to harp the same note that I said earlier. That is what you like. And what's the first response from a random Twitter account? And I'm going to give him a shout out at Brett Pats. What did he say? "This is such a great answer. I agree. That's what you want from a defensive back." And if you see him as a cornerback, Mark, that's what you want. That is the attitude you want from your cornerback.
Sure.
You want that kind of Richard Sherman, I'm going to shut you down. You want that kind of, I mean, I think of Revis Island, and maybe I'm wrong. Revis Island he's not as vocal as Richard Sherman, but he's got that same attitude. I'm going to shut you down. I'm the best in the game kind of a thing. That's what you want at this position. You want that cocky guy who, especially because what are the two, to me, the 2 positions that are the most diva positions in the NFL, go head to head each and every game. Cornerback, wide receiver.
Yeah.
That's why we got Josh Norman and Odell Beckham.
For sure. And, mediocre Crabtree with Sherman.
Yeah.
But I think...
Well, that was before Crabtree was on the resurged Oakland Raiders.
Yeah. They're trying. They're certainly trying.
Under Jack Del Rio.
They're giving it their best shot. But I think you gotta look at this too and look at these 2 players and see what they affect on the team. You have an offensive tackle who helps the run game, who helps the pass game. You have a let's say he's a cornerback who's going to prevent. He's going to stop the opposing pass game, and you are going to face some, let's just say, pretty talented quarterbacks like Blake Bortles, a high draft pick, Andrew Luck, the number 1 draft pick. Brock Osweiler, we're going to give him the benefit of the doubt here and say that it wasn't a flash in the pan last year. So you're going to face some good quarterbacks. It might be worthwhile to do that, to go for the guy who's going to stop that, who's going to prevent that. But I just think about it, young quarterback, got hit a lot. You don't want him to keep getting hit. You have not touched the offensive line so far in free agency. You've got to address it at some point. And when's it going to be? The next logical approach is the draft. So I guess the best thing you can do, that number 1 overall pick, best player out there, go grab him, because you at least have done something to help out the defense.
And what I want you guys to do down below right now is tell us in the comment section, whether you're on YouTube or SoundCloud, what do you think? What should the Titans do? Should they take Jalen Ramsey or Laramie Tunsil with that number 1 pick